The Matzah means between the two tzaras we had, also means between the two tzaras we had, Shavuos B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. So it's a time of sorrow, it's a time which we have to chaparang and try to do whatever we can that we shouldn't have another Tisha B'Av. So the Hasidim say, they somehow manage to flip everything upside down, but the Hasidim say, Kol V'Fer Hisigu, Hisiguha, it's spelled Hisigu Yud K. Whoever runs after the Rebbeinu Shalom could find him. So during this time, so it's also a time, that Karalai Moed, even though it's a time when the Rebbeinu Shalom is sort of steps back and allows the base of Mikdash to be destroyed, but it's also a time where Karalai Moed, it's also it's a time for it's a Moed, it's also a time of punishment. Amal, when you raise a child, when you hit him, you hit them, it's also a connection. You're connecting with them, you're hitting them. So there's a connection between us and the Rebbeinu Shalom, and that could be used to turn the Toiv. It's going to turn Me'evel Yom Tov. Tisha B'Av is going to become a big Yom Tov. So it is a time of a Moed, and therefore it's a time a person can work on his Ruchnius. So we shouldn't let it pass. Now, what? Yeah. So I wanted to quote you somewhere. It's very interesting. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see it here now. It's down. People try to refrain from doing different things during the 3 weeks. Mikra Adin, there's really nothing clearly that's usher, as far as a person's allowed to go on vacation, he's allowed to do these things. But Afal Pikain, it's a time when a person is really, I always say, if you live in Australia, you're probably better off. Yeah, the summer comes out. The summer comes out, smack in the middle of the time of mission. Nichnas Av and Matim B'Simcha. But that's really from Av. We start from the 3 weeks earlier. So he brings down, I can't find it now, I saw it the other day, that they made, it's a nice yud. He made a takana, it was not like this, but he made a takana, the Chemed brings down, from the Sefer Masach Chaim L'Morim Chabif. This is a big guy in earlier generations. So he said, Sha'asu haskama v'takana b'koyach tereseinu hakdosha. Shemiyom made a takana b'koyach tereseinu hakdosha. Shemiyom Shavuos B'Tammuz ad achot tes b'av. V'al yuchal shum bar Yisrael l'tayil b'ginois. No yid should go traveling in the ginois, with pardesim, in the gardens and the V'al Svas Hayom, near the water, V'hanor, V'lenagim B'shum Lishum Nigga, without any niggin, Zulas B'shas B'smila B'vad. They can make a niggin, so I shouldn't sing. Now he debates whether he means singing or with music, because we generally sing, we'll talk about that later. But anyways, he keeps on going, Sha'evel Dibri, and he says more than that. He says Shabbos that Yud Zayin B'Tammuz comes out. Chayovim lahachmos haskama zu b'batei knesiyos. They have to give a clap on the bima and announce this haskama that they had. But over zeh v'vadet is over Tibri Chazal. There's also over haskamas v'takonas hakahol. So I don't believe that people. He brings it on himself. That
who is this, Rabbi?
This is the Chabif. Go down and the Spanish bring him down what? It was earlier. In any case, but there are cloud oilam is not nizar so much in these things. I guess we don't have this takana in our community, but Afal Pikain. It's right that we have to keep in mind. We have to know that all these things that we do, not taking haircuts, whatever we do, is not emotions. It's a purpose that we should feel that we're in the time of the 3 weeks, and we should feel the churban. So that's the purpose, Whether we do each thing, the different takonos they did in different places, that's one point. But some people stay away. Definitely, a person stay away from going to a makam sakana. Makam sakana. People should be careful. Should be careful during this time. But to say that it's also to go into Yul, this is over there they made a takana, haskama, but generally speaking we don't have that. Kapon, what do we have? There's a lot of confusion between the 3 weeks and the 9 days. So I want to focus on the 3 weeks because the ikar avelus is during the 9 days or shvur shechalbay. During the 3 weeks there are different things that we have in Minhag Ashkenaz. We start from Shavuos B'Tammuz, but not everything applies then. And I want to clarify that because there are different things that come up. So the first thing we know that does apply is not taking a haircut. That's the one thing that's very clear that we have that Noam Shul stop him, and we don't take a haircut. And even though according to the Spartan it really starts Shvur Shechalbay, but Minhag Ashkenaz he says of Taspoyus Noigim Wahachmim Yud Zayin B'Tammuz. Now, not taking a haircut is also from Yud Zayin B'Tammuz. So, not taking a haircut applies even to the children. It means even giving children haircuts, which is interesting. What's the reason not to give children haircuts? So if they're bar chinuch, well, maybe there's a chiv chinuch. The whole dana for chinuch, so there's a chinuch not to give them. Less than chinuch is to give them a haircut. So this is actually very interesting. Sharatziim brings down here that at the bottom of the Shabura that there's 2 reasons why it says clearly that asul gedolim is mechaber shulchan aruch asul gedolim musapel ektanim. An adult can't give a child a haircut. And to wash the clothing, we'll see that in the 9 days. But for Shavuos B'Tammuz, to give them a haircut. So the Shabura says, because the Ketanim also have chinuch, imishum avelus, imishum agmas nefesh. So Shartzion says nafkamin is how old. In other words, if it's because of avelus is only noyig by someone that's a bar chinuch. Lower than chinuch, there's no din avelus, so therefore shouldn't be any issa for them to have a haircut. But if it's because of agmas nefesh, that means agmas nefesh of the parents. We're noyig agmas nefesh, we're in Sahar, so we don't give our children haircuts. So then you wouldn't give even a younger child a haircut. Right? There's a whole nidin. If a kid gets has an upsharon, his upsharon falls out during the 3 weeks. So should he do it or not? So it depends on who you ask, of course. If you ask those that don't make upsharons, they won't make a big issue of it. Do it before, do it after. If you ask those that are knowing very strongly the Indian of upsharons, so there's chilukei deis whether to push it off or to do it before, or to allow it to be done during the 3 weeks. Because technically it's totally in this. Really, it's totally in these 2 shittas. Is there an Issa B'chlal? I mean, they're now Hagil L'Chinuch. They're 3 years old. So, if it's B'Shum Avelos, technically it should be mutter to give a child a haircut. If it's because of Agmas Nefesh, so we don't do it. So I think...
Really, it turns out to be a party. The Upsharon is a party, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's another issue. Are you allowed to make a party? We'll get to that. We'll come to that, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I'm thinking in terms of the Upsharon.
Those that hold that it's an Indian, it's also this mitzvah. They hold this mitzvah. Make a upshare. But just to give out cake and stuff, that's not called a Suda. Suda would mean to make a sit-down meal. But to put out cakes and candies and whatever, that's what they're anyways. It's not. We'll see about that. So, anyways, Akabanim, so there's different, so they say for sure you could do it, those say you shouldn't do it. During the 9 days, I've had even those that are matir are more, say, that's Muhammad, but those that are matir then also, you got to ask, depends where you come from, you got to ask. But most of the Litva Shalom doesn't do Shabbos during the 3 weeks. That would be one thing, which would be a nidin, a katanim. If a person is uncomfortable, he's allowed to cut what's bothering him. You know, the Gemara says, the halacha says if the zaken is a ma'akev achila, you know, if it's in the way, so you could trim that. So a person's allowed to cut what's getting uncomfortable, what's bothering him. Not that's bothering us a specific way, you know, just to cut that, but not to take a proper haircut. Someone's in Avelis, and the shloshim finishes in the 3 weeks, so he's allowed to take a hair if he needs, because he wasn't able to take a haircut earlier, and it's bad. He's allowed to take a haircut as soon as Avelis is over. That's before Shalacha. He's allowed to take it during the 3 weeks. 9 days is not as simple, but during the 3 weeks, he's allowed to take it. It's only a minhag. It's a minhag. The ikar, again, the ikar dinim start from Av. We're just as a minhag is to go earlier. So when if someone's in Avelis and it ends, that he could take a haircut then if it's necessary. It's actually halacha during the 3 weeks also, during the 9 days also. Misha takfu Avelis shameis v'hichbed sari mekel b'sar. So it could be makel, but he can't take a complete haircut. During the 9 days, it's a little more chamer. He could lighten up his hair without taking a full haircut. But during the 3 weeks, he could take a complete haircut if the Avelis ended during that time.
The 3 weeks is just, it's really only 12 days. It's 12 days and then 9 days. Or is it 12 days, or it's 12 days plus the week up, right?
Yeah.
So when you're talking about the 3 weeks in this case, you're really talking about the 12 days?
Yeah. During those times, yeah. So you have these things, other things that are mutter then. So that would be negay. That would be a heter for this 3 weeks. Oh yeah, and then there's regard for a bris. Regard for a bris, that's a whole big mavucha in the achronim. Who could take it? If you could take it, the Shara Tshuva brings down in the beginning of Tav Kuf Nun Aleph, the first Shara Tshuva. It's actually Sifkat and Gimel. It's the first one. Brings down a whole big machlokas if a person's allowed to take a haircut. We know that the father and the sandik and maybe the kvater, maybe even the grandparents could wear big day Shabbos against the Shiloh. They could wear big day Shabbos during 9 days. The question is, what about taking a haircut? Will cover the bris. So there's a whole machlokes whether a haircut's allowed. The Baisa they bring down that the Olam is noig. The minhag is that they could take a haircut. It's a bris, at least the Avia Ben and possibly the Sandik will be able to take a haircut during the 3 weeks, not the 9 days. 9 days is machlokes. 9 days is a Shiloh. And the Yehuda Acid, some say Yehuda Acid even during the 3 weeks. But during the 3 weeks for sure, the minhag is to be makel and to take a haircut. During the week of Tisha B'Av, there's some matter also. So Rabbi Yashiv held that the minhag is to be matter even during the 9 days to take a haircut for the best. Obviously, if he could have taken it before, he should have. He could, it's better to take it before and take care of it. But if whatever the reason is, so there's another heter to take a haircut. There's a heter l'tzarech parnasah. There's a monetary loss for Moshe holds his mutter. There's argued for Moshe holds his mutter to shave for parnasah reasons if there'll be a monetary loss. One should be aware though that the ikar heter is during the 3 weeks. During the 9 days, not really 9 days also, but during the Shavuot Shechalboi. Shavuot Shechalboi, we just set it up like this. The Mechaber learns that Isser is really Shavuot Shechalboi. So in other words, for example, this year Tisha B'Av is on a Tuesday. So Shavuot Shechalboi is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's Shavuot Shechalboi. It's really 3 days, not 9 days. The Minhag Ashkenaz is one machmer from Rosh Chodesh. So we stretch out the 9 days to Rosh Chodesh, and then we stretch out even more the 3 weeks. But the Iker Isser is the Shavuot Shechalboi, is a week that Tisha B'Av comes out on. So even those that are noig to use a Moshe's heter, there's a monetary loss, so Moshe's used that heter be Iker for the 3 weeks up to the Shavuot Shechalboi. But this year, Tisha B'Av was on Tuesday, Sunday, Monday. Sunday nobody goes to work anyways, and it's relevant for Monday. Tuesday for sure you're not going to shave. It's Tisha B'Av, so it's relevant for Monday. So how the person should be machmer during that time and not shave, because that's a Shavuot Shechalboi. The Moshe says it's possible if there's a real big Isra, Hefsid involved. In other words, you have a real important meeting in that day, then there could be Hefsid will apply. If there's a real tangible loss of money involved, Avadi says then it's mutter. But if not, if it's just the general, so a lot of times we don't do business one day due to 2 days, due to 3 weeks. It's too much to tell a guy stay home from work 3 weeks because nobody's in the business with him because he looks like whatever. But if it's a day or two, that's not enough to be matim mitamzeh. But he says unless there's a case specific, where a person has a very important meeting or something he has to deal with, which is there's a tangible loss on this specific case, then there would be a heter. But otherwise, the ikar heter that he gives for the monetary loss is during the 3 weeks, and not for the Shavuot Shechalboi, the week of Tisha B'Av itself.
But so in that case, when would you shave the last time before? Because usually Friday you wouldn't have an excuse because you're not working Shabbos. In other words, you shouldn't shave.
You work Friday morning, but if you're working Friday morning, but yeah.
And then let's say Shabbos, you shouldn't shave anyway.
No. It's, Sunday nobody's working, and every guy's working Sunday. He says again 2 days, Sunday, Monday this week. This year it's Tuesday, Tisha B'Av.
But nowadays people, there's people like how people look. It's a clean shave isn't like in the 60s and 70s. It's much people are that.
So Moshe writes that you have to really be intellectually honest and know if it's an issue. Some places it is an issue, some it's not an issue. It's hard to give a clear guideline.
You're a guy on making television. Your job is
you have to be presentable if you're in sales. You have to know each situation. It's hard to. For my job, I have to.
If you took a shave that Friday,
okay. So that's as far as haircuts. So haircuts is something which is clear cut. That's also during the 3 weeks.
When you said haircuts, because I know there's a difference between haircuts and shaving. In this case, when you meant haircuts,
no, kol gufa is included in haircuts. The Moshe Mechavis, the spiritual was echad roshe ve'echad kol sar shaboy aser. Now there are parts which are not called maybe the woman shaving the legs is not really that's not called taspoyus. That's called like cutting the nails, which is cutting the nails is clearly mutter during the 3 weeks, and Tisha B'Av 9 days we'll talk about next week. So 3 weeks is not it's not an issue. Doing the eyebrows and all this kind of stuff, that's not b'chlal taspoyus. That's b'chlal
in the case of lice.
Yeah. For refuah it's mutter. That's not it's only refuah you're allowed to do you're allowed to take a haircut, and that's about it. What else is there in the haircuts? That's the basic idea. So this is something which is clearly yasser during the 3 weeks. There is we spoke about Shabbos a little bit. I'll just go over that a little bit here for those that weren't here, and also we didn't fully get into it. There's a very big mavucha. Where it comes, is there any issue, buying things? Is there any problem buying things during the 3 weeks? It's one of the most common shilos I get. Renovating the house or buying, the work. Is there any issue whatsoever during the 3 weeks to do this? During 9 days, yes, there's a tangible issue, unless there's. We'll talk about when you could, when you can't. Renovating or buying. But during the 3 weeks, before the 9 days, is there any issue whatsoever? So where's the makar for such a? Where would be the makar for such a issue? So the Mechaber says, this is how he says, a toiv lizar miloy meshachiyanu bein ha-mitzarim. That one should be, it's good that one should be careful from saying shachiyanu during this time. We say shachiyanu v'kimanu v'giyanu lazman hazeh, and it's a sad time. It's a bad time. So it's toiv not to say shachiyanu. Al pri on a new fruit, or al malbush on new clothing. Now, well, pidin ben you could say. Pidyon Ben is a mitzvah over. You can say it then. You miss your shechiyanu. So Avada, you could say it on a Pidyon Ben. Well, Yachim Tzar you can't put it off. The Chen B'Pri, he said if you can't find, if this food is going to go bad and you're not going to get another one, so it's going to go bad by the time the 3 weeks are over, and you're not going to get another one, so then there's a mitzvah to eat new fruits. Shalmi, it's actually issur to pass by a fruit you never ate and not eat it, not partake of something Baruch created. So therefore, Avadi, you're allowed to make a shechianu on it, but something which is not going to pass, you can do it afterwards. So you shouldn't. You can't. You have to be careful from not making a shechianu during the 3 weeks. So why not? Why didn't you make a shechianu?
Wait, you just said something that was really important. Because we can walk into T&T, for example, supermarkets, and every day see a fruit that you've never eaten before.
Right, try it out.
That's like the greatness of the generation we're in.
Yeah, Father. Okay, we'll talk about that too, B'Shvat. But for shechianu purposes, for shechianu, so there's two reasons. So the Magen Avraham says it's a zman peronius. It's a time of punishment. You don't make shechianu. And the Goyin says it's a chumra yisera. It's a chumra yisera. And the Goyin, it's only a big chumra not to say. It's not because it's really not as zman peronius. It's just a chumra yisera, a erev chumra that we do during the 3 weeks not to make a shechianu. So on Shabbos, the mekel, habachronim a mekel that you can make a shechianu on Shabbos. So what comes out of this? If the whole issue of wearing a new clothing is that you can't make a shechianu, so it's just a toiv lizar, it's a chedesh, not to make a shechianu. And on Shabbos, the harber makilim to make a shechianu on Shabbos, you'd be able to wear new clothing on Shabbos and make a shechianu. Now, the problem is you're making a shechianu. Many of us don't make a shechianu anyways. We said on Shabbos from the Pri Megadim that there is a minhag that people don't make these brachas that are not a chiyuvim. They're just some brachas are not a chiyuv to make. It's just a person makes it from being nisvaga shechianu v'kimanu l'zman hazeh. So we don't necessarily make these brachas so easily, Especially it says an usher, a rich man, doesn't make a shechianu every time he buys a shirt or buys something. It's not a big simcha. So today we're all ashirim. So we don't make shechianu on everything new we buy. Many of us don't make a bracha on shechianu on suits either. You don't make a shechianu even on new suits. So if you're not going to make a shechianu, possibly there shouldn't be any problem. It should be mutter. I said over from Moshe, if a person buys a new car, just buys his leases up during the 3 weeks, it's very common. Wants to buy a new car during the 3 weeks. So what's the issue? So you have to make a shechianu. So it depends. What's the if you buy something for yourself, you make a shechianu. If you're buying something that you're nana from and someone else is nana from, you and your family is nana from, your wife, your kids, so then you don't make a shechianu. You make a toiva hametiv. So a toiva hametiv, Moshe says that you're allowed to make during the 3 weeks. You just can't make a shechianu. So if you're buying that car for personal use, or you're a single guy, so you're buying it for yourself, so then a shechianu you can't buy it. But if you're going to you're buying for families, so you can say it says you're allowed to buy it during the 3 weeks, not during the 9 days. It's different. It's like a binyan of simcha, maybe depends on why you're buying the car. We'll see. You buy for panos, it could be its mutter. We'll see during the 9 days, but during the 3 weeks. There's no issue to buy. That's what Moshe says. So Moshe is clear that there's no issue. The whole issue is based on the bracha shechianu. Whenever you're not going to make a bracha shechianu, it should be mutter. So if he's there today, that most of us don't make brachas and shechianus on most things. You buy a dishwasher, you don't make a shechianu. You buy a new oven, you don't make a shechianu. So and if you did, maybe you'll make a toiva meitiv. Everybody gets supper from it. So then no problem. You can buy it during the 3 weeks. Now there is the Vajna says that even though we don't make a shechianu on everything, but since you could make a shechianu and should make a shechianu, maybe that's us. So it doesn't seem that he's learning that it's because of the bracha itself, because you're not making the bracha. It seems he's learning something which already you could make a shechianu on, you shouldn't buy. So he says maybe there's such a concept, something which is. But Moshe doesn't seem to go like that. Moshe seems to go that it's mutter.
What about the simcha during the 3 weeks? I mean, the whole purpose of the 3 weeks is to remember the korban of the base of mikdash. So I understand how they're getting why they're arguing over.
So what about the Indian of simcha? That's what you're asking.
Yeah.
So they don't seem to have an issue, but there are many others. Shulchan who says that the minhag is not to buy dvarim shel simcha. Not to buy dvarim shel simcha during the 3 weeks. The Shartin actually brings this down Sharatzian brings this down, and he says, he brings down this thing, and he says he doesn't know. Here. He says he doesn't know where this comes from. There's no din from Shivas B'Tammuz. Only from Avi Mamat B'Simcha. He doesn't say Shivas B'Tammuz. So he says he doesn't know where this comes from. This minig that Rabbi already says that a person should be made from Simcha, and he says he doesn't know where this comes from that a person has to be made from Simcha. So the Mishabura and the Moshe seem to be going that there's no issue of buying any new articles or any new things during the 3 weeks. Not a problem. 9 days, yeah. 3 weeks, not. There's no din to be made for Simcha. But nonetheless, the Yerabba and the Aruch HaShulchan and others say the minig is, or I shouldn't go so far saying the minig is not to buy Dvarim Shal Simcha during the 3 weeks. And definitely here in the street, the people don't buy, at least they ask a Shaila before, if you're allowed to buy it. So there seems to be a confusion in this halacha, and the truth is it's not so clear in the Paiskim whether there is such an issue. In the Mishnah Berurah and the Moshe and others, it seems that it's mutter to actually buy things during the 3 weeks, and according to the Aruch HaShulchan and others holds that one should refrain from things that are simcha. But that's things that bring simcha. Things which are a necessity. You need an oven in the house, you can buy an oven. Certain things which are not al simcha, certain things which you need, so then there would be, this issue would not apply. And befrat, it's a machlokes. By me, I don't understand. Simcha B'Yonah brings down these shittas by buying new clothing, and he says that's something which brings a lot of simcha. Maybe a new fancy a geschmack suit. You're waiting for a long time. Maybe that's a simcha. Maybe one shouldn't buy. Maybe a shaitel, something which is a real simcha shouldn't do. But then he brings Rabbi Moshe that one could buy a car. So car is also simcha. So I don't understand how he's coming out. But Maisa, Avada, if there's a tzorich, if there's a need, if there's a necessity, if there's room to be mekel, as long as there's no bracha shechianu involved, and if not, it's always better to push the things off. To push it off till after 3 weeks, do it before. It's always better because there are those that hold that there is an inyan to be mamayit b'simcha during this time. But it's not a clear cut. It's not a clear cut.
Yeah, during the 9 days, you wouldn't.
During the 9 days, no. During 9 days, there is an inyan of being mamayit b'simcha. That's clear that you can't. A person shouldn't buy things that are articles of simcha. Certain things which are not. You could buy socks. You could buy. Things like that. But things are simcha. Then the other ethereum. If it's a davar of it, if there's a sale, or if there's a necessity that he needs it, we'll get into these things. We're talking about the 9 days, but we're talking about, including this is painting your house. A person wants to paint his house, or different renovations. So there's no issue of simcha during this. The issue is not during the 3 weeks. The issue is during the 9 days, renovating and doing these things. No issue during the 3 weeks. But there is this concept from the Yerabba and the Aruch HaShulchan of being mamayit and simcha. So avada, if it's person didn't start and there's no difference to him to do it now, avada he should wait, or he should do it before. But if he already started before the 3 weeks, it's going into the 3 weeks, or whatever the necessity is, avada he could do it. He could finish until the 9 days. By 9 days, if possible. It was discussed that next week. I got to get you back for something.
When Moshe said it was okay to buy a car, it seems to me there's two different situations. One is your car broke down, you can't get to work. So you get another car.
That's something else. He talks about that. Moshe talks about that in his tshuva. Moshe talks about his tshuva that if No, if it's for business, it's parnasa, it's mutter, that's something else. Right. Talking about that you can live with your old car, it's working still, and you want to trade it in and get a new one. Your lease is up. Someone came to me, my lease is up. The lease is up. He needs a car. You can't get around without a car. It's a whole different shiloh. But why every year his lease is up the same time? He should try to switch it.
So back to the vacation. I realize I'm going back in 20 minutes, but if you go the same way, taking a vacation during the 3 weeks doesn't make like vacation specific. Vacation is like you're doing it. Why do you have to take it during the 3 weeks? Why can't you?
The Chanabi, maybe you don't have to. But you see, we live in a country where the schools are off now, and that's the way it runs. In the summer, people are on vacation. You can't switch that. People need the need for their peace of mind. They have to get out a little
No,
bit.
he said there's 8 weeks, right, from July, August.
Okay, I'm not saying a person shouldn't be machmer and do his Disney World vacation during not during the 3 weeks. I'm just saying that there's no isser. There's no isser. Okay, so that covers new things. So Lamaisa, if a person does have to buy something, he needs a new suit. He needs a new suit, and he has to buy one. So it's not aser. And it's best if he wears it on Shabbos. If he wears the first one on Shabbos, because on Shabbos anyways, there are those that are makel, you're allowed to make a shechiyanu. And even if we don't make a shechiyanu, like a version says, but still, since people do make a shechiyanu on it, so it's best if one does buy something new and there's a necessity for it, and you can't push it off, and Avada is welcome because they could buy it, but you should wear it during, best thing is first time to wear it on Shabbos. That will take care of the issue. But really, the Iker Isser is from Rosh Chodesh Av, not from 3 weeks. There's no Isser Simcha except for the Eliyah Rabbah and the Aruch HaShulchan. That's why the Olam is noig taka, not to go and buy things special during the 3 weeks. But if it comes out like that it needs to be done, there's a big makam lahakum. Now, the next thing. So. What else do we have in this week? Oh, music, singing. Music. So one thing we're knowing not to do is music. It's brought down a little bit in the Mishnah Berurah. It's brought down in the Bi Halacha. If a person... The Iker Isser is really brought down. I mentioned this a few times because I think there's a confusion in this Halacha also. It said, the Mishnah Berurah brings down here, that v'asa lasos, it's mamash one line in the Mishnah Berurah. Mechaber doesn't say anything about it. They talk about making sudas, making a suda for erusin or for these things. And Mechaber says during the 9 days that you don't get married, you don't make a sudas erusin. But liyaris b'loy suda mutter, to make an engagement. Erusin was actually the first part of the kedushin in those days. The Mishnah Berurah brings down that that you can engagement you can make, but you can't make a suda. You can make a suda. So this is during the 9 days. Fine. Avada during the 3 weeks is more kal. Person's could make a suda, but it's brought down here. It's brought down. It says that v'asalas is rikudin u'mechayles, dancing. Mechayles like circle. You could dance in a circle, go around like in so that's called mechayles. Even without a simcha, a person shouldn't sing and dance. That's us. That's where it's brought down. And so what does that have to do with musical instruments? So, it's brought down also before that if a person he's a musician and he has to play, so he can play by the goyim, they're allowed to hear music. So if it says panasa bekach kadei panasasa, his mutter is allowed to make his panasa. He's paying for the panasa. But otherwise, music itself is aser during the 3 weeks. So music and singing and dancing would be aser. So, so what's the parameters of this? So first of all, once we're listening to tapes, listening to some music tapes, a person should be afraid. They shouldn't listen to music tapes during the 3 weeks. They have this acapella, whatever it's called. So they tell me that there's 2 kinds. There's the kind that's good and the kind that's not so good. The kind that's not so good is people singing. Okay, so then that's singing. Could be that's allowed. Some amount to that. But the kind that really sounds like music, they can
like musical instruments.
It sounds like musical instruments. The Iker Isser is something which brings to, Shalom Zalman says, something which brings to dancing. Brings to simcha, brings a person to dance. So it doesn't matter if you're faking out the musical instrument. There is a musical instrument. It's something which is which a person plays plays the music in order to bring simcha. That's avada included in the yisr. Even singing itself during the 9 days, even singing geshmak nigun, which brings to dancing, is not so simple that it's mutter. It's not so simple that it's mutter. The Olam is more makel today of these things. Avada to sing zmiros with the shpachos and hartzig and nigunim, that's mutter. that brings a serious. Tells what feeling you walk away, with afterwards. But something which brings a simcha is difficult to say it's mutter. But Maisa, during the 3 weeks, as long as it's not musical instruments, the Olam is noig l'kula. And but something which has music, one should stay away from. And even dancing, what?
It's very curious what you said, because if the idea is music gives you comfort, I could understand why it's not appropriate in 3 weeks. But if it's because it leads to dancing,
dancing is us.
There's all kinds of music that, orchestral music that nobody dances to.
Yeah. So it could be as two things. There's shmaka things that bring to dancing, and then there's musical instruments itself is not. Things which are music, yeah. So, but during what about during a suda, bar mitzvah, what about during bar mitzvah? You're allowed to have music during bar mitzvah. The person makes bar mitzvah during 3 weeks. Could he have a band? So Moshe was matir. Moshe was matir. I think he was matir even during the 9 days to have music at a sudas mitzvah, as a real sudas mitzvah. It has to be sudas mitzvah, the bar mitzvah. That's by Yom. If it's a real sudas mitzvah, one where he holds its mutter, the minhag ha'olam is not to have any music during the others that aren't matter, not to have music, but dancing by a sudas mitzvah. I'll say by a Sheva Brachas and this, the Olam is makel on that. The matter to dance by a Sudas Mitzvah. So we do have dancing during the 3 weeks by
dancing with no music?
With no music. The Olam's not like to have music today by a Sudas Mitzvah.
Friday night you dance around the
What?
Singing's allowed though.
Yeah, singing's allowed with dancing. If a person has to take training, that's something else. You're doing it as a profession, you're training, you're practicing. But someone is doing it just for enjoying the music. Now, I want to make an exclusion over here. Someone that needs some music for his well-being, that's 100% mutter. Someone that today it's... I remember I was learning in Israel. This goes back 20 years ago or more. Learning in Israel, and there was a Shalmi family there, and someone was saying, he was saying that he doesn't understand all the Americans, they suffer from depression. He says it's a machlat. The Israelis don't know from. I don't know if that's true or not, but you always have to worry about it. But it's true. People have sometimes hard situations, and they need to be relaxed. And so for that, it's mutter. It's mutter. Music is necessary for a person's well-being. Is 100% mutter. It's only he doesn't need it. The person doesn't need it for that. He's just doing it for added simcha. That's awesome.
How about things like I've heard you're driving long distance?
Yeah, if a person's driving and he's afraid he's going to fall asleep, he can listen to music.
Or he should pull over and take a nap.
Or he should pull over and take a nap. It's probably better. Yeah.
Or exercising.
Exercising, I is a shvat to be matter. The people that are matter that, but. I don't know the car for that. Do exercise without music. Don't do exercise. Do it without music. I mean, if the person needs it for his, for a serious condition, he has to exercise, and he's not going to do it without the music. He should listen to the music. But someone that's just doing it for daily routine exercise, and will do it without the music. It's not the issue. They'll do it without the music. So listen to a share. It's hard to exercise listening to a share. I don't know, but. I don't know the basis of such a heter. I asked different rabbanim about this heter, for exercising. Well, ein limcha is biyad makilim, but if you want to know the source of it, it's not so clear. A person needs it for health. A person serious needs for the health to exercise, and the only way to get them to do it is with music. Adrabah, they should do it.
People exercise. When I used to run, it's always listen to music. And and I remember asking the question. And what happens is you get into a pattern of how you're exercising.
I understand.
The music and the exercise are connected.
Yeah, I get it. So a person that doesn't exercise, what's going to happen to him? So he'll exercise. He won't get into the pattern of the music. He'll exercise without it. What's going to happen to him?
Well, they won't. The exercise.
It won't work as well.
They break the pattern and then they stop the exercise.
Shver Shilas. Difficult Shilas.
The background music,
Yeah, but you don't have to leave because it's background music. It's not you're not mechuyev to someone else puts on the music. You don't have to leave. Listen. Each person has to know where they're holding it. By them, they mamash feel the tzad of Beis Hamikdash. Think of it like this: there's a milchama going on now in Eretz Yisrael. Even more. Let's say you have a child that's went into the army. And you don't feel like dancing to music. And then there's the music on. So when you walk out, it depends on the music, I guess. If it's something that's really getting you b'simcha, maybe you'd walk out. I don't want this today. But otherwise, we have to. The issue is, the Hashem Lieberboy, Achmana Lieberboy. A person has to know where he's holding. You can't fool yourself. This is where I'm holding. It's not affecting me. The fact there's background music. There's no background music. I don't have to leave. But if it's a person that's affecting him, he says Avodas Hashem. He's working on the churban. Taka should walk out. That's the but etzim, it's not us. It's not. He's not turning on the music. He's not putting it on someone else. They say. For me, I have little kids in the car and I'm driving. I could drive without the music, but with the other kind of music, and it's hard. So you put something on for them. So they say to put on the music that you don't enjoy so much. Uncle Moshe. He's good. I'm going to his music. But something that doesn't music that's part of a story is not us. Background music on a story tape. It's not us. It's not. But again, if it makes a person b'simcha and that, so hakol kafiya inyan. There's something which are clearly us, and there are certain things which are, the person has to make his call. So children don't have an isser. There's no isser for them to. Children don't have any isser, especially if they're not rish chinuch, they're not 7, 8 years old. They're not gila chinuch. There's no isser for them to listen to music. If they're older, it depends on what they need. Each person, That's singing, but dancing also. There's people think it's just the music, it's musical instruments. It's not. It's anything which brings real simcha. Is what would be also. So that's that. So what else do we have in the 3 weeks? So we have we did the things. Singing. What else is there? Swimming is mutter. Swimming is mutter during the 3 weeks. There's no isser. But there was an Indian to stay away from Dvarim Shel Sakana. Someone's not used to swimming in the ocean. He shouldn't go swimming in the ocean during the 3 weeks. And a person has to stay away from. It's a Zman Piranya. Some things happen. See, every year something happens during the 3 weeks, and the person has to be careful. You shouldn't do things which are not, sound and safe. And person's normal routine. Swimming is normal. People go home.
They're concerned about court cases?
Yeah, a person who could, Matam B'Simcha, during Av. It goes during Av. A person should push it off to afterwards if he could. They say operations or these things, a person could push off. I don't like saying over this halacha because in Canada, you do it when you get it. There's no choose your day. It doesn't work like that over here, In the States, it used to be at least, you could choose your day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It doesn't work like that. So, so these things are, there's no issue in that. Someone's asking me, for his kids, to take them swimming. There's a non-religious grandparent. Well, they could during the 9 days actually. They could take the little kids. There's no issue again on the little kids for chinuch. No issue for them. So the question is, could they come swimming? They're going swimming anyways. It's not you're not causing them. They're going anyways because they take the little kids. So chayah, technically there's no issue, but it's a deep water. It's not a shallow kiddie pool. It's a deep water, and you have to be chayshish for things happen. It's man paradius, and we try to stay clear, stay on the safe side during this time. And all in Yonim, it's not just in Gashmius. It's in Nuchnis. We try to stay. It says you're not allowed to hit the Talmidim. Today you're not allowed to hit the Talmidim anyways. But in those days you were allowed to hit the Talmidim. You're not supposed to hit them even lightly during the 3 weeks. I assume if they always hit the Talmidim, it didn't cause much damage usually, But Afal Pikain, during the 3 weeks, it's supposed to. So nowadays, supposed to start. He's not supposed to do it because it's more perennial. So there is such a concept. There is such a concept out there, and one should be careful on that. As far as parties goes, so again, so if there's a tzarech or tanoim, an engagement, a person can make a suda. If there's weddings are also weddings are also, but birthday parties, he brings down here from Mikdash Yisrael that a person should refrain from birthday parties. I never heard that after Rosh Chodesh Av, 3 weeks not after Rosh Chodesh Av. I guess it depends on what kind of party it is. It's just for the kids. Some mutter to make a real proper suda and an enjoyable suda. That's just during the 9 days. But Akaponim in the 3 weeks, it's a chamutter. There's no shayla. Okay, that's a sham. We shouldn't have to have this year again next year.
Amen.
And,